This cupboard was my first attempt at painting with the chalk paints. I did this many years ago. There's a poster from our exhibition 2 years ago. I use this cupboard now for keeping all my bits and pieces in for framing. I've got paints and gessos. I've also got glue for gluing down canvas onto my frames, all sorts of things like that. I have got here, these are the paints I use. If I'm using acrylics, I use these, the interactive acrylics. But then I go on to the oils, obviously my first love. And I keep the blues in one box, the yellows and oranges in another. I've got the reds and the violets, and in the bottom box here I've got my browns, blacks and whites. Boxes of various mediums I've tried over the years. These are boards here that I've prepared myself. Some of these have got paintings on that I might just be painting over, so I've got those at hand. Those are the cards that I sell. And oh, interestingly, behind that, you see that black framework, that is an old baking oven, and behind that board there really is an old baking oven, and it measures approximately 12 feet square. No idea what to do with it, so I've just boarded it up for now. Brushes everywhere and a few mediums. I used to work a lot in watercolour, so I've got an awful lot of watercolour frames that are slightly redundant now, collecting cobwebs. Over in this corner are the things that I've collected over the years for using for my still life work. A few favourites, some things I've never used, a lot of them I have. Some things come out time and time again. I bought a wood burning stove a couple of years ago, which I had installed, and that's really been quite a boon for me working in the winter months in here. I've got a drying rack here with a few pictures. Those tulips there I've painted for somebody. They are the Jack Last tulip, which I'm rather fond of. A few pictures on the wall. We've got a huge window. I don't think this will come out very well. There's a massive window which I have. It's south facing, so I had to put a blind on it to stop the sun coming in occasionally when it's right on my board. Ha! That was my very first attempt to paint a dog portrait. That's my dog Betty. And this one, this was my first attempt this year at plein air painting. I went out to Weybourne just a couple of weeks ago when we had a spell of nice weather. Stacks of paintings everywhere. This is the box I take out with me because I've got my tubes in that. I've got a spotlight here focusing on a peony. I was going to have a go at painting that. I don't think you can see that there. I'm also a hoarder of brushes. I can't bear to throw them away, and I keep buying new ones, but anyway, I'm sure they'll come in handy for something. I've thinned out my books. I had a huge collection of art books, but I found that I didn't use them or look at them very often. I've got a white spirit bottle up there with a funnel. Every time I empty my white spirit, I tip it into that bottle up there, and then it settles down, and when it's settled enough, I pour off the clear liquid into one of the bottles that are underneath. Well, that's quite a useful tip, so you do not have to throw terps down the sink. This is my thing I've devised for working, different sizes. So this board here, this, I don't know if you can see that, this clip slides out and in, so I can work on a small piece of board by sliding this in, and it holds it very firmly on the easel. Otherwise it's difficult to get it down into the thing. My palette that I haven't cleaned properly for a couple of days, and my brushes raring to go. This is another little collection of bottles and jars that I've got in the window. Again, I've got the blind there because the evening sun streams through there, and sometimes it's not always welcome. There's a few more piles of paintings here. Some I will be going out to galleries, some I'll be selling online. And then I am a bit of a magpie. There's things I collect that I can't bear to get rid of. There's my teddy. He's older than me, and I won't tell you how old he is, but he's pretty ancient. bought in India. It's a bit of fun. I've never painted it, but you know, it just makes me smile. I bought that all the way back from Morocco. It's the skeleton of one of those great big round cactus leaves. At the time I was interested in painting, doing etching work, and I was going to use that. So again, I never got round to it. This is the other half of the studio where I've got a few pictures on the wall. Puppet I bought back from Thailand. Again, never painted it, but it's a bit of fun. So there's just a few paintings on the wall, all for sale, of course, if anyone's interested. This painting I'm rather fond of. I painted it about 10 years ago when I went painting abroad with my friend Helen, and it was Egina, and it was the fish market. That was one of the first outdoor painting holidays that I had, my first attempts at plein air. Great fun. A few of chroma and pin mill. Done in some top ones done in St James's Park last year with the British plein air group, and the one below that was a painting holiday, or course really I suppose, with Ruth Shirling. I went to Holland. I can tell you it was pretty cold there. Anyway, that's my studio. I hope you enjoyed having a little look round, and I'll be interested to see some of yours. Oh, that was the last painting I did on that painting trip with Ruth, and it was great fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that.